like that. Hey, everybody. Is it recording?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, everybody. My name is John T. Long. I'm an attorney. And I've been studying the legal system now for about 25 years. And so I've put together a little presentation on what I've learned about it and how criminal it operates. So basically, you've got at the top of the totem pole, God is the creator, and He created man and woman, who created government, who created the legal society, who created the codes, acts, and statutes that's made everybody a criminal, basically. So there are really only two universal laws: do no harm and do not trespass. Those are kind of like universal laws, or God's laws, if you will. So who is above everything? Man and woman. Of course, God's above man and woman, but man and woman are next. And I did this, there is no state of Alabama. And you can say this about Ohio or Tennessee or any state. There's no city of Columbus, Ohio. There is no county of whatever county we're in Columbus here. They're all fictions. They cannot come into court and testify against you that you did harm to them. And that's what I said. Is the state of Alabama, city or municipality going to testify against you? No. Only the man or woman who represents the state, city, county, or municipality can come in and testify. So section 1112 Code of Alabama, there's their own laws saying that every county is a body corporate, i.e. a corporation, okay? Municipalities declared bodies politic and corporate. And this is just in Alabama. It's in all the states. They've written all this in. It's in there. You just gotta look for it. Maybe under the same section and everything, but you're just gonna have to look for it. So the reality is that you are a man or woman, okay? And my name is John T. Long. So what the court system and the government system does, they give you a title, which is a fiction: plaintiff, defendant, judge, police officer, prosecutor, John T. Long in all capital letters. Those are fictions. They're not real. And the governments have created those. Look at your driver's license. It's in all capital letters, right? So you are a corporation. They have made you a corporation so they can attach you. There are only men and women who sometimes acts as a judge, police officer, prosecutor, etc. They are employees of the corporation, which is the state, the county, and the municipality. They're employees of a corporation. So when you go into court, if you file a complaint, and that's complaining that somebody violated a code, act, or statute. And normally the police officer files a complaint stating that you violated a code, act, or statute. That was created by the legal society. There's no harm done to anybody. So a claim is a constitutional creation, because a lot of people think they have constitutional rights. You don't have constitutional rights. The constitutions of the different states were written for the rules of government on what they can and can't do. So a man or woman files a claim for damages for injury and harm done to their lands, goods, person, or reputation, that's a claim under the Constitution. The courts were created for we the people, not the state or municipality or police officer. They're created for us. Trespass on land, theft or damage of goods, property, injury or harm done to person, murder or reputation. In all the constitutions, Ohio, and I've looked into Ohio, I've looked into Tennessee constitutions, they all have the same language, okay? So here's some definitions that are in the Constitution. We have inalienable rights. Those are rights that are God-given, that God gave us, that are not transferable or cannot be taken away. Liberty, the state of being free within a society from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority, i.e. government, on one's way of life, behavior, or political views. Injury is harm, damage, or loss sustained. Person, a man, woman, or child. And these definitions come out of the dictionary. Lawful, that's facts and evidence. So I'm distinguishing between what's lawful and what's legal. Legal is the codes, acts, and statutes, assumptions, theories, and opinions. That's what legal means. Trespass, commit an offense against a person or property. Someone trespasses on your property or trespasses against you, steals your property, that's not only is it theft, but it's also trespass. And the Constitution of Alabama, and all, like I said, all these constitutions read almost verbatim. Alabama, Tennessee, and Ohio for sure, because I've looked those up. And it says, we the people of the state of Alabama, in order to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, invoking the favor and guidance of Almighty God. Now you hear about the separation of church and state. There it is right there. They don't ever separate. That's why when they take an oath of office, what do? They put their hand on the Bible. There is no separation. Do ordain and establish the following constitution and form of government for the state of Alabama. So what that's saying is, we're forming the government, and these are the rules that we've established for the government, not for us. We're born free with inalienable rights, right? And then it goes on to describe in Article 1 what these rights are. That the great general and essential principles of liberty, and I defined liberty just a minute ago, and free government may be recognized and established. We declare that all men are equally free and independent, that they are endowed by their Creator. There's that separation of church and state again. With certain inalienable rights. Then it defines inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's it. That's the definition of inalienable rights. Of course, it could be a lot of other things too, but those are the basic ones that basically that's saying the government can't infringe on those, is what that's saying. And that all political power is inherent in the people. That's me and you. That's where the power, that's who has the power, not the courts or the judge or the prosecutor. And that all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their benefit. So what that says right there, the government's created for our benefit. They're public servants. The courts are public buildings for our use. It says, no person shall be barred from prosecuting or defending before any tribunal court in this state by himself or counsel in any civil case to which he is a party. So that just gives you a right to use the court for your purpose, that the right to trial by jury shall remain inviolate, which means not harmed or changed. So you have a right to a jury trial on everything. And this is the kicker right here. This says, all courts shall be open, and that every person for any injury done him in his lands, goods, person, or reputation shall have a remedy by due process of law, and right and justice shall be administered without sale, denial, or delay. So what that's telling you is the courts are open for us to use. That if we're injured, car wreck, somebody stabs us or whatever, or somebody trespasses on your land, somebody steals your goods, damages you as a person, or hurts your reputation, you have a remedy in court against that person who's done harm to you. And it's without sale, denial, or delay. That means they can't charge you for it, they can't deny you, and they can't delay it. Which, nowadays they charge you for filing a complaint. And that the sole and only legitimate end of government is to protect the citizen in the enjoyment of life, liberty, and property. And when the government assumes other functions, it is usurpation and oppression. That means they're taking someone's power or property by force, is what usurpation means. And of course, you know what oppression means. That's what they're doing to us right now. Telling us, don't leave your home or whatever. And then that this enumeration of certain rights shall not impair or deny others retained by the people, and to guard against any encroachments on the rights herein retained, we declare that everything in this Declaration of Rights is accepted out of the general powers of government and shall remain inviolate, which means unchanged. So what that's saying is, we just told you what the powers of the government are, right? And the legal society cannot break the law to enforce a legal act, code, or statute, although they do that all the time. The law, according to the Constitution of Alabama, is any injury done him in his lands, goods, person, or reputation. The state, county, or municipality was not harmed. You can't harm a fiction. You can't harm a corporation. In fact, the harm done was by the man who sometimes acts as police officer, who is an employee of the corporation. He has no authority unless he is injured in his lands, goods, person, or reputation. And he's the one that files a complaint against you for speeding, or for DUI, or for whatever. There's no harm done there. There was no crime, only a violation of a legal act, code, or statute, which the man or woman never consented to. Remember, people are the source of power. So the man or woman who sometimes acts as police officer caused injury or harm to the person they arrested by assault and battery, which is an unwanted touching. So if you're arrested for DUI or anything really that violates a code, act, or statute, and they put handcuffs on you, that's assault and battery. And it's also assault and battery with a deadly weapon, because they've got a gun. So they want to intimidate you. It's also barratry, which is using the court system for profit. The courts are for profit. The courts are being used by the counties and municipalities and cities as a for-profit corporation. So if they detain you, put you in jail, or detain you, put you in the back of their car, that's a crime, unlawful detainment, which is detaining someone against their will. And then extortion, they're also committing extortion because they're trying to obtain money through force or intimidation, because the ultimate goal that they arrested you for is for fines. That's extortion. So the county and municipal court systems are a for-profit corporation that's defined by their own rules. And a corporation has no power over you. That's slavery. That's also in every constitution that slavery is abolished. So they're violating their own laws there. So the employees of the city, state, and county corporations complaining of a violation of a legal code, act, or statute under color of law, which that's a federal crime, because that means that someone is acting to deprive a person of a right protected under the Constitution, i.e. life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Are y'all following me so far? Is it making sense a little bit? If not, y'all can ask questions now. Without any authority, consent, or debt, the corporation has conspired to commit fraud, which is representing a fact that is relied on and causes injury or harm. So they're representing to you that you violated a code, act, or statute, and they're trying to extort money out of you. That's fraud, because you're believing that you did something wrong. That's fraud. And falsely arrested him or her, imprisoned him or her, causing damages to his or her person, property, reputation, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness in violation of the Constitution of Alabama. Just insert, Tennessee, Ohio, because they all read the same. So every time a judge, police officer, or prosecutor, and attorney comes into government, or as I did, I had to take, they're public servants. All these people are public servants. I'm a public servant. I had to take an oath of office. So I, John T. Long, solemnly swear, affirm, as the case may be, that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Alabama, so long as I continue a citizen thereof, and that I will faithfully and honestly discharge the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter to the best of my ability, so help me God. Separation of church and state again. Okay, so the judge, police officer, prosecutor take the same exact oath of office. So they're violating their oath of office when they're trying to extort money out of you. And there's nothing in the Constitution of Alabama regarding these, and I call them their administrative proceedings. So when I go into court, I'll ask the judge, I'll say, is this an administrative proceeding? Of course, I hadn't gotten that far yet to confront them and call them out yet, right? So you're violating your oath of office, Judge Turner, whatever his name is. I haven't done that, but as you'll see here in a minute, I did have some success recently before a jury trial that they dismissed because I filed some motions and stuff based on all this. It's not a constitutional court, as they are set up for the people to have a remedy for injury to their lands, goods, person, or reputation, according to Section 13 that I read a minute ago. So the police officers, judges, prosecutors are violating their oath of office when acting outside the scope of the Constitution. That's how you get them. You go after them as a man or woman who sometimes acts as judge, a police officer, or prosecutor, because they're acting outside the scope of the Constitution. And this is the motion that I filed. I really put everything together and filed this motion in court on a case that was set for a jury trial Monday a week ago. And I just used the same language that I went over, that we didn't give them permission, that there's no in personam jurisdiction, which means there's no harm done, so they have no person to come testify to the harm that was allegedly done. And that's basically what I just said.
What was she accused of?
DUI. And they arrested her and put her in jail, and
There was no breathalyzer.
no
blood
breathalyzer,
test.
no, just the police officer's opinion, because she did admit that she had a glass of wine and 2 Xanax the night before, but they did no blood test. They did a breath test, but it didn't show anything. And the police officer lied and said that she refused it, but I had the video showing her blowing into the thing as hard as she could. And that's what the cops do. They lie their ass off. I've caught them in so many lies.
Yeah.
And they're just agents of the corporation. It's like McDonald's telling me I can't eat at Burger King, right? If it's a corporation. And then I put in the language of Section 13, that there's no harm. And basically I just put in a court motion everything I just went over a minute ago.
Tell them the deal about like the lowercase letters.
Yeah, see, I'm not going to worry
Uh-huh.
about that now, because I took a course, it's called Law Common to I, and they do all all capital letters is a fiction. So when I did this, I wrote them in all lowercase, but I'm not going to do that again because I don't think it's necessary. And then I'd say, look, an agent of the Anniston Police Department, who sometimes acts as police officer, has no standing to come into court because he wasn't harmed, right? And that he trespassed against her, assaulted and battered her, unlawfully detained her, intimidated her, and threatened her with violence, extortion, and battery. Everything I just went over before, I just put all this in a motion. And then I state again that the man, Justin Hise, that's his police officer's name, who sometimes acts as police officer, was not harmed in his lands, goods, person, or reputation, like Section 13 of the Constitution says is required for them to bring an action in court. And then I just reiterate everything that I said before. I put it all in a motion. There's no debt. We didn't consent to go to court. And then I throw in the prosecutor, because she's going, and the judge, Bud Turner. They took an oath of office under oath that they will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Alabama, blah, 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 and that this is an administrative function and not a constitutional court, as there was no harm or injury to the state of Alabama, city of Anniston, or county of Calhoun, goods, lands, person, or reputation, just like it reads in Section 13 of the Constitution. They weren't harmed, so how can they, they're just using the court as a for-profit corporation. Just reiterating everything, and then I'll say that their unlawful proceedings violates the function and powers of government under the Constitution of Alabama 1901. And then I ask them to dismiss this unlawful complaint, and that all false claims be dropped, as they are usurpation and oppression, which I went over that before. And it violates her enjoyment of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Same thing with the prosecutor. They're violating their oath of office, and they're trying to extort money vis-a-vis fines, right? Court costs, fines. And then I say, you need to drop it, otherwise I'm going to file a claim against them for fraud, conspiracy, RICO, which is a Racketeering and Influence Corruption Organization Act under the federal government. You know, federal is over the state. Assault and battery, unlawful detainment, all in violation of the function of the government. And then if they continue that, I will press a claim before a trial by jury and seek compensation in the amount of $100,000 plus $1 per minute for trespass and all the other harm or injury by way of battery, unlawful detainment, intimidation, threat of violence, fraud, conspiracy, and attempted extortion. Because that's exactly what they're doing. Or in the alternative that I'm asking the court that I'm gonna try this claim against the judge, the police officer, and the prosecutor at the same time that they're trying my client. So I'm putting them on trial, right, in front of a jury. They didn't like that too much. And the judge just wrote across, well, the judge came out with an order, just denied, motion denied. Well, usually when you file a motion, the other side responds to that motion, right? And says, no, this is, he filed this motion and this is what we say about that motion. So the motion was unopposed. He didn't give me an oral argument like I requested. They're required to have a hearing, right, on my motion. And he just denied it, no explanation, supporting law. They're supposed to come out with an order, you know, with supporting law and conclusions of law. Nothing was sent to that. And I asked the court to send a summons to Justin Hayes. None of that. They didn't do any of that. And that's basically, you can't see it too good, but that's a letter that I send to the police officer saying, you filed a complaint, right? And how did we harm you? There's nothing in there about harming you. It says, greetings to the man Justin Hayes, who sometimes acts as a police officer. I, the woman, claim that you, the man, did trespass by way of harm to I. And it's just, I'm going to write these a little bit different next time, because a lot of people look at that and say, what the fuck is he talking about? Harm to I, and you know, all this. But that's what I've learned in the course, so I was trying to follow their example. And that, you know, I state that, look, this is an administrative function. You know, tell me how I harmed you. And if you can't tell me how I harmed you, then we're going to come after you for, you know, basically all of those claims that I said. I said, send me a letter showing how I harmed you. And I attached all this to my motion as exhibits. And I sent him 4 letters, but I'm gonna just send him 1 letter from now on. And you can go to my website, johntlong.com, and it'll have a link to my video, and then you can blow these up if you ever want to do this and confront these, you know what, these criminals. Basically, what they're doing. So then I write them, I attach this is in my motion too, is I write this to the clerk, and I ask the judge to send this to the clerk, and then I'm coming as the counsel, and I want them that we're seeking remedy against every person for injury done him and his lands, goods, person, or reputation. And I just quote section 13. So I'm saying, you know, we're open. I want you to, the clerk of the court, I want you to open a case for us. because we've got a claim against the prosecutor, the police officer, and the judge for violating their oath of office, one. And, everything I just went over, trespass. And then I'm laying down her laws because this is her court, right? Because the courts are public buildings that we pay for. So I'm saying, look, this is Haley Shea Curvin's court. And then we're not coming in as any titles because of what they want. They want you to come in as a defendant, you see. That's a title. Then they can do anything they want. But if you come in as a man or woman, under God, the Creator, that's how you got to come in, as a man or woman. And it says without self-denial or delay, so I'm telling them we're not paying for it. And I just basically quote everything that I went over before, put it in, and then I put the notice of trespass with statements of claim that I sent the police officer, remember? And he never did respond, so he's got no claim. And there again, I say that I claim that police officer, intimidated me and threatened harm, injured me, and be seeking $10,000. That's probably the figure I'll be going, because $100,000, I don't know if a jury's gonna give us that much. What do y'all think?
No.
Yeah. So 10,000 is a little bit more
Yeah.
reasonable. Yeah. That's what I thought. And then I put out the rules. These are Haley's Curvin's rules. Well, these are really my rules, but it's her court. But people don't know. Y'all don't know how to do all this. You need counsel. You need counsel, right? And then I tell the judge outright. I say, look, you got to give your oath because you're a public servant and you've served those of mankind as a judge, and you need to uphold the law, and you need to be a witness to the claim with facts and evidence, not opinions, because a judge will come out with an opinion. Who wants a damn opinion? I want facts. And then if a jury comes back, then I want the judge to put out an order, because I want to collect this, and he needs to put out an order. And the court will not accept or entertain any titles, legal arguments, case laws, codes, acts, or statutes, opinions, speculation, or theories, as this is a court of law set up under the Constitution of Alabama and the U.S. Constitution. So I'm telling them I don't want any of that shit. I want facts and facts and evidence. I don't want opinions and case law and all that horse crap. And I'm telling the court that I want him to enforce it within 21 days of the verdict. And then 2 days before the trial, the prosecutor puts in a motion to dismiss the case. Yeah. And so they didn't want to try it, basically. And then there's the order from the judge dismissing the case, so it's over. I didn't even have to try it. I wanted
Did
to.
she get any compensation? No.
Hell, I did it for free. The client didn't even fucking pay me.
Oh.
But that's okay. Because this was my first test case, really, under these theories, today.
Go to jail.
Yeah, she was.
Hey,
She was.
She
She
got
was.
rewarded even if some unattainable.
She was pretty happy.
Yeah, yeah.
But then I'll go. I'm real quick. I'm gonna go over the federal real quick. Um, got a little bit more time. So there's where I state that men and women are sovereign. Okay, they're you're sovereign. You don't need anything other than your sovereignty. And that the constitutions of the states set up the rules for government. They don't give people rights. They set up the rules and laws of the government on what their functions are, what the government's functions are. And any violations of these functions are unlawful. Did y'all know that the United States government only has authority within 10 square miles of Washington, D.C.? Did y'all know that?
No.
They don't have any authority outside of 10 square miles of Washington, D.C., according to the United States Constitution. And there is federal lands and buildings, and they have authority on those too. But basically, that goes to income tax. That goes to everything. They have no authority outside of 10 square miles of Washington, D.C., and I'll show you where it is in the Constitution. And then the laws only apply to the employees of the United States government. They don't apply to you and me. That's the government's laws. They have no authority in the states. That authority was given to the states to write their own constitutions, which they did, and I went over those in that other video. This is the United States Constitution. Section 8, powers of Congress to exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever over such district not exceeding 10 miles square. That's D.C., District of Columbia. It tells it right there. They don't have any authority outside of 10 square miles of Washington, D.C. And may, by cessation of particular states and the acceptance of Congress, become the seat of the government of the United States, and to exercise like authority over all places purchased, that's federal lands, and buildings, and they do have authority there, because this gives them the authority. Forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and other needful buildings. That's federal lands and buildings. And then to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States or in any department or officer thereof. That's it. These are laws that are for the employees of the government. It says it right there. So you are a corporation. The judges, police officers, and prosecutors are public servants. What they have done is given themselves the illusion that they have power over you. That's why the judge sits above everyone. It's an illusion. You have the power over them, just nobody ever questions this because they have been programmed since birth to obey. Obey the government, obey your parents, obey your teachers. The order of power is, and I went over that before, God created man and woman. Man and woman created government. Govern, that's Latin for control. Did y'all know that? Mind, or meant, is mind, i.e., government was created to control the mind. That's the whole purpose of government. So the government, i.e. the legal society, created codes, acts, and statutes to rule over corporations. You became a corporation when you were born with a birth certificate sent to the state. And when you were born with the birth certificate, when you receive it back, your mama, when you were born, sent in a live birth certificate to the state, whatever state you're born in. They send it back in all capital letters. So when you were a baby, that's when you became a corporation. A lot of people have done research on that, and supposedly you're a piece of property in commerce with the all capital letters name, and on the back of the Social Security card there's a number, and some people have looked that up, and that's like your stock number or some crap. And look at your driver's license, and all your bills are in all capital letters. John Thomas Long in all capital letters. That's the corporation. Fictions. There is no CIA. There is no FBI. There is no IRS. There are only men and women who sometimes act as agents of. Those are all fictions. The CIA is not going to come testify against you. The IRS is not going to come testify against you in a court of law because they don't exist. What does exist is a man or woman who sometimes act as an agent of, and there again, you cause them no harm, right? And same thing, going over some of these things I've already gone on. And here's in their own language. The United States is a corporation, and you have become an employee of the corporation by your Social Security number and your name in all caps. So when you go into court, it's the United States in all capital letters versus John Thomas Long. And there it says 28 Uniform Code, Section 3002-15 is United States means A federal corporation, B, an agency, department, commission, board, or other entity of the United States or an instrumentality of the United States. So they're telling you they're in their own laws that they're a corporation. They got no authority over you. Nobody ever challenges them. So then I go back over what I've been over previously. And I had the IRS send me a letter saying I owed them $80,000. So I sent them a certified letter back. This was back in December 9th, 2022. Greetings to the man Sean P. Franklin, who sometimes acts as an appeal team manager. So this guy was that was who sent me the letter. And I'm saying, how did I harm you? You know? And he never did respond back. And then also, I rented a car. We rented a car to Sedona last year from Enterprise. And I paid a $300 deposit. I don't have this on here. And so we were riding it on the interstate in Oklahoma, and a piece of trim flew off. I didn't have nothing to do with that. So when I returned the car, they said, well, we're going to take your deposit. And I said, that wasn't my fault. And so I wrote to the CEO of Enterprise, and I said, if you don't pay me my $300 back, I'm going to bring your fucking ass into court for $300. And buddy, they sent me a check lickety split, because I was gonna bring her into court for theft of property, because that's exactly what they're doing. They took my deposit. That's theft of property. I'm tired of these MFers. You have to excuse my language. And then there's my book of John, not the one in the Bible, my first book. I go into unworthiness programming and how to identify, delete, reprogram a new subconscious mind. Basically, is what I've done over the last 20 years. And I put it all in the book on how I did that. And it goes into the solutions, you know. And this is my second book, A Journey to Unconditional Love. It was a soul agreement between me, my twin flame and soulmate, to come down into these bodies at this time so I could learn unconditional love. It's a profound cosmic love story. And then I channeled a good bit of it, but the process of writing this book was intended to clear and heal all my trauma accumulated over lifetimes. So this book carries a vibration from the source field, which will help everyone clear their own trauma. This is a gift to myself and humanity, and my sole purpose of this lifetime was to actually experience, you know, because we are unconditional love, but I can't experience that floating around in heaven. I have to come down into, you know, a body to experience that, and that's what I did. So if you read this book from a heavenly viewpoint, the my guides, or whatever you want to call them, told me that you can heal your own trauma just by reading the book. But if you read it from like a third dimensional, it's not gonna help. It just looks like a bunch of shit. And I also make wands, crystal wands with magnets and crystals inside them to help raise your frequencies. And then that's my my website. You can get my books and wands. I got a booth. If y'all want to come by and see it tomorrow, it'll be here tomorrow. Got a couple more hours. That's it. If y'all got any questions or anything, I'll be glad to answer them for you, or try to anyway.
I just had two comments. I was really sort of interested in the law. My brother is a lawyer in DC, speak of the devil.
Yeah.
He's a civil lawyer, not like a prosecutor.
Yeah.
He's retired now. He's helping immigrants come into the country. One thing he's doing. But the main thing I always hear in movies and TV, I don't know if it's the number one issue, but you might have an opinion on this. You touched on it sort of, with the paying taxes. Every other TV show they have people saying you don't have to pay taxes. That's, in my lifetime, that's the number one topic I hear about, the so-called rebellion against the government. Do you think that is the number one issue, or is it the only thing expressed? Well, I'm sure there's other things, but I mean, that's the only main topic I always
Yeah,
hear.
I mean that goes back to their authority. They've only got jurisdiction within 10 square miles of Washington D.C.
Right.
So taxes are voluntary.
So you agree with that point?
Yeah.
I figured.
Yeah.
But what if you, like, I once owed a lot of taxes and I eventually paid it off, but they always threaten they're gonna, come after you. It usually takes the form of a letter and stuff.
Yeah, I
Do
got plenty of letters.
Technically, do they take you to court, ignore them, or do they just
Well, I haven't.
start
They haven't
freezing all
taken me
your
to court in
assets?
25 years. So
Really, but have they frozen, if you can ask,
No,
frozen
I
your
don't-
assets and stuff like
no,
that?
no, I
Or
don't
whatever
keep
they
anything in the
threaten
bank.
to do?
They threaten that,
They threaten it, but they haven't.
right?
But they
And then
have-
I'll send them a letter saying, "Come on, I'll bring you to court in Alabama for fraud."
So that's the main topic I always hear about,
Yeah.
is the tax. I'm sure there's other things, but
Yeah.
that's what I always
Yeah, and intimidation.
Would you agree that's a real common thing with the taxes?
Oh yeah, people are
Not a
scared to
fact.
death. I mean, that's what their tactic is. They
Yeah,
scare you.
right, because they're the big bad government coming
Right.
after you. Yeah. So if you do get in trouble, it just takes years, you just ignore them, or?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not in trouble.
I just
Thank
ignore
God.
'em.
If there's someone knocking at your door.
Come on, bring it.
Yeah.
What's your name? I'm gonna file a claim against you. Yeah, for lots of money.
Are there IRS agents, you know, in every state, or do they just ship them out from Washington?
I'm sure
Or are they
they're.
just on long distance on the telephone?
I don't know. Yeah, I know they got
Especially with our
some.
online stuff now.
I know they got offices, you know, in Alabama or
Okay,
some of the
few
cities.
offices. Yeah, I wouldn't even know where the nearest one is outside of DC.
Yeah,
But we have one in Alabama.
yeah. I know.
I don't know if Ohio is one.
I know there's one in Nashville.
One in Nashville,
Yeah.
okay, just curious where they might be. Okay, so there's some.
They're heavily
markets.
guarded.
Oh, like that,
Yeah,
like Fort
yeah,
Knox?
pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so they have some markets. Oh, that's cool. Any other big issue that seems to get fought that you approve?
Not really. Just you know these.
Oh, you fought the one for the woman, but I mean, on a mass scale, so like they said, it's all here about fighting for taxes.
You don't fight anything.
Oh, I see what you're saying,
Yeah.
you let it go, and
Right.
then,
If they,
if they
you
come
know.
to you and threaten you, then you can
Right.
counterpunch perhaps.
Right. Right. And
Okay, so you're saying,
They filed liens in the county of where I live, but I ain't got nothing they can lean on, so they file on liens they want. Doesn't hurt me.
cool.
But they got everybody scared, you know. Oh my God, they're gonna come put me in jail. And they do put people. They do put people in jail,
They do, don't
but
they?
they don't. But the people they put in jail don't fight it. That's when you
Well,
fight.
that's when they're, oh, yeah, okay.
You don't just let them come and handcuff you
Or
and
if
take
you
you to
get in,
jail.
then
You
you
say
fight.
you touch me and I'm gonna sue your fucking ass for
Okay.
assault and battery with a deadly weapon. That's what you tell them.
Okay, sir, okay.
Yeah.
You can't get a lawyer because they're fake, they're fake?
There's.
The
Well, you can
defense
get
lawyer, I
me.
mean? Okay, okay.
But see, I'll go in as a counselor, not as an attorney.
Oh, do they really let that go on? Like in the court, they just let you have a counsel person?
Yeah.
Really?
It's in the Constitution. It's what I read, that everybody has a right to counsel.
Oh, okay, even if it's not technically the defender. I mean, they're the defender, but I mean legally, what do you call it, the defense?
Plaintiff, or you know, if you're filing a claim, you're technically the plaintiff in their
Okay.
terms. But I don't ever want to use those titles, because that gives them the right to invoke all these opinions, theories, and bullshit that they try to put on you. I would go in as counsel for the man, John T. Long, right?
Okay,
Or the
but not the
woman.
typical defense lawyer.
Right. And see, they're so programmed, they don't know anything about this stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you ever recommend people going pro se, or is it stereotype to say you
Not unless-
can't be your own client? You
Yeah,
know,
not
fool
un-
for your client.
Yeah,
or
not
that
unless you know
person.
this stuff.
Unless you know, I
Because they
agree.
will eat you alive.
Yeah, because you'd be ignorant on everything. I mean, the average
Right.
person doesn't know anything like
Well,
me.
it's a whole different language, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, rightly so.
Yeah.
It's a specialty.
Yeah.
But, I watch a lot of
Stop
court.
that.
I watch a lot of court TV. Do you watch that kind
Hell
of?
no, I live it. What do I
Oh,
watch?
well,